Welcome everybody to another global game night. Awesome to be here. Excited to be playing a new game and creating a solo variant for it. Hello everybody, Ethan and Amber, and we got Darth Bane 4. Awesome. How's it going? So tonight we're going to be playing a game called Kingdomino Duel, and of course, in a game with a subtitled duel, you would expect it to be a two-player game. Well, it is a two-player game, and I was furiously scavenging the internet for solo rules. There's a few small, requests or suggestions, but I really didn't find much, and so I was like, let's just take a crack at some solo rules because the game plays pretty well. And I feel like it should have been, publishers should be thinking about this. Like, how can you play a game to scale solo and then also potentially, like, in my opinion, scale to infinity, right? So we're going to take a crack at it. I would love to do Planet Unknown. Is the screen turning on? I don't know. Yes, we're gonna switch over to the actual game screen, okay? See. So great question. So I have a Kickstarter going on right now called Planet Unknown. Been doing some content for Twitch on Planet Unknown as well. Tonight we're gonna be. Oh, actually, yeah. I need to probably change my my title. You're right. Global. I confused the heck out of you. Game night. All right. Adam's Apple Games went live playing global game night. So we're doing. I confused the heck out of you. I'm sorry. So we do a weekly stream, or try to be weekly, and we play games that scale to infinite number of players on the global game night. And the cool thing about it is, like, it's a great way to to actually get to play a game with someone that you might know, but on the internet, but never actually play a game together. Yeah, for sure, I will definitely be streaming some more Planet Unknown in the future. But tonight we're gonna do some Kingdomino Duel. So if you want to stick around and play, I'd be happy to teach. If not, totally cool. Let me grab a link to the sheet really quick here. Here is the link. So there are two sheets. Thank you, Ethan, for backing it. I'm just blown away with the response on Planet Unknown. That game has been, it's been in the works for a long time, and we thought we had something special, but we really wanted to just make it awesome, and so just so excited to see people cheering us on, which is cool. So we're gonna see where we can take that baby. So anyway, this link has a sheet of Kingdomino. It has Kingdomino Duel. It has a kind of a kingdom sheet, and I guess this is our spellbook sheet. Okay, so we're going to make a few small modifications to the game. I'm going to teach the game basically as it's written in the rules. I actually haven't read the rules for a little bit, but I was kind of theory crafting some solo variants today, so that's a little bit more fresh in the head. So I have the rules next to me. So in Kingdomino Duel, if you've played Kingdomino, this helps teach the rules quite a bit. But what you're basically doing is dice are rolled. You take turns with your opponent drafting. You would draft one die right away. Your opponent would draft two, and then you would draft, and then you would by default get the last one. Okay. Now, Kingdomino, that's how the duel works. The way that we're going to modify that for solo is this. You are just going to be picking two of the dice, but then two of them are going to be seeding to your opponent's boards. All right. Now, there's a few special things about the dice. There is a bunch of these shields. You're basically going to be drawing the design in these shields. You must put the dice together into a domino form. So in a domino, there are two types or two sides to the domino. So if I am putting these two dice into a domino form, I would have a double-lined shield, and then there's this little X on it, okay? Now, if you've played Kingdomino, the X is like the crown. So that is what is going to score you points, but also the area of territory of that tile type. Okay. So think about these as like, I don't know, like the people that, or the different controls of the kingdom, right? Okay. So in Kingdomino Duel, whenever you take a die that does not have an X on it, you are going to be marking going forward to try to on the marker according to the shield that of the die, the representative die without the X. You're going to be making one mark, all right? And as you make marks, you're eventually going to be hitting the end, and that is going to be unlocking a one-time ability that you can use. Going from top to bottom, we'll go through those abilities, but how we're going to play this in the solo variant is instead of we're going to play it just as written for us, but the opponents, this would be the opponent's track, okay? We would mark that the opponents took a die without a star of this type and took a die without a star of this type. So you can see that we have opponents over here and we have our player board over here, our spell book over here. Okay. Now, if we beat our opponents to beat or tie with the opponents to the red box before they get to the red box with number of marks filled, then we can use the ability, all right? If we do not beat them there, we cannot use the ability. Now, also, if that box is filled up, or if that entire row is filled up by the end of the game by the opponent, that is going to be counting for negative points to us. Now, these are the two modifications we're going to make for solo. So basically, the unused dice are going to go towards the opponents. If they do not have a star, the opponent is basically putting pressure on us, right? If it has a star, then we're not going to mark it, just as the normal rule book would say. So that is kind of the tweak that we're going to make. Now, how do we talk? Well, let's talk a little bit more about the dice. Let's talk a little bit more about the types. We have, as you can see here, some different number of boxes per row. Okay. The rarity on the dice is different. Okay. So you're going to have probably the most common on the dice being the single dot, the single slash. The second most common being the double dot, the double slash, and the least common on the dice being the full shield and the checkered shield. All right. And I believe different abilities maybe have different powers associated with that as well. We'll go through the abilities top to bottom in a second. But there's one more thing while we're talking about the solo variant that I want to mention. So if one of the rows is filled, that is going to be a -1 point. Okay. Not too bad. But if two of them are filled, that is going to be -3 points. If three of them are filled, -6. And so it's going to compound. And you can get up to I think 15 points. Or sorry, -21 points. If your opponent has all of these rows filled by the end of the game. Now, if you beat them to the end, you lock them out from making any more marks. So you're effectively mitigating your negative points as well. Okay? We'll play a practice game, we'll talk some strategy, and then we'll compete. So there will be plenty of time to kind of explore this rule set, and we'll make tweaks if it sucks. Okay, a few more things about the game. How do you score? That's always or how do you win? Most points wins. How do you score? You're going to score points by taking the area. Let me see if there's a good example here. Okay, so here's the rule book. You're going to take like the area times the number of X's in the area. So right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that area of that type of shield. There are 0 X's in there, so that's 0 points. Okay. Now, over here, there's 1, 2, 3, and there are, I need to look a little bit closer, 2 X's up here. So you're going to take 3 squares times 2 X's, and that's 6 points. So you're going to count each individual area. Now, normal domino placement rules apply. So you must place next to an existing square of that type. The kingdom in the center is wild, and so you have a lot of flexibility to start. Okay. So for example, if my first placement was 2 checkers, and then my next one, for example, might have been a checkered and a 1 slash, these I would have to place a checkered either next to the kingdom or next to one of the existing checkers. Okay. The freedom that I have is if I place the 1 slash next to another 1 slash square, that could be okay. Yeah, it makes a little more sense having played the 2-player version, because in the 2-player version, you're kind of racing towards the center to use the ability. So we are also still using these special abilities if we get there before the AI. Correct. Yes, you are. And we're going to go through the special abilities top to bottom. So the first one on the top, if you beat the solo opponent to the center, here, the red box here, you can play your domino without following the connection rules. So we just talked about the connection rules. You can break those. Okay, you can play your domino. Look, this guy played a white and a gray. He played the white next to the black. Okay, so that is not following the connection rules. Following the connection rules would be if you played the white next to the white. The next one, you can separate your dice to fill in your map. Each die must represent the connection rules. Okay, so you can separate those dice. You can put them in two different spots. Keep in mind the domino, the two dice that you drafted have to stay combined together. This one allows you to break it one time. Okay, and I believe you can use these anytime. I'll have to double check that. The next one, during a turn where you are player A, you can immediately pick your two dice first. So this is a good drafting advantage, but in the solo variant, we're going to change this, okay? This is going to get a change on it. And that's going to say you can use this ability and you don't have to make any marks for the AI that turn, okay? So that allows you to draft the dice you want without having to leave the AI with, marks that are going to detriment your points. The next one, you can turn one of the dice in your domino so it shows any face of your choice. So you don't have the dice in front of you, but you can pick any shield. All right. So treat that one as a wild. And of course, this one we would probably the face of the dice would also have the X's by it, but we're just going to treat it as a wild. Okay. So this is the other one that's a small change. All right. So that's going to be a question mark there. All right, the last one, second to last one, coat of arms. Choose a coat of arms. Each different domain with this coat of arms will earn you 3 prestige points at the end of the game. So if you choose a checkered as a coat of arms, for example, every domain that you have, and a domain would be, right now they have one domain of checkered, so that would be worth an extra 3 points for them. But if they had a different area of checkered over here, that would be worth an additional 3 points. So you want to be choosing the domain that best suits you and your filled in board. And the last one is add 1 cross to the coat of arms of your choosing. And so you can speed up, add 1 X to the coat of arms of your choosing. So the coat of arms are the shields. You can add an X to any shield to kind of boost your points in that territory, all right, in that region. All right, we're going to play a practice game, so I think we'll learn as we go, and these may crash and burn, and we'll tweak if we need to, but I'm excited to be helping maybe suggest some fan-made solo rules for Blue-Orange, so I'm a big fan of their stuff, and I feel like Kingdomino needs a solo variant. Let's do it. Let me get some tunes going, some light tunes. All right, we got the ambient on. We had the ambient on for Planet Unknown the other day, which is cool. But today we're gonna get it back to the happy, I think. Is that what it's called? Happy, there it is. I like the happy. That seems like good for a global thing, right? Also, hope everyone's doing okay. This is I'm starting to get bottled up in the house. Like, I need to get out. So the weather has been nice, and then we got hit with some snow, and I mean, snow is fine. Like, we're used to it. We live in Minnesota, Wisconsin, or wherever you live. If you live around snow, you get it. It's there. But it's April, and I'm ready for some weather. I'm ready for some warm weather. Okay, let's rock and roll. I'm sure I missed something. I probably did, but we're gonna teach as we go. All right. So the first round, we'd roll the dice. You would pick 2 dice. For example, I might pick these 2 right here, because that's already 2 coat of arms or 2 shields times 2 X's. All right, and that would be 4 points straight off the bat. So I think we're gonna have more points in this game than in a normal game. I think that's pretty good for me, but also where you place it is a big deal as well, right? So starting out, I might color this guy in. and then you X, X, color. Now, every time you take a die yourself that does not have an X on it, you're going to make a mark. All right. So I made a mark here because this did not have an X on it. Now my opponent gets to make 2 marks because of my choices. Now you can mix and match those differently. So I think what I'm going to do is probably put them in a square to not lead anyone's decisions. Okay. So you can always combine here, combine there, combine here, there, or even this way as well. Or even the cross. Okay, my opponent though did make progress here and here. All right, and that would be the first turn in the Global Game Night Fan-Made Solo Edition. All right. Now, once you get to the ability, you can use it. I believe there's timing. So let me just double check the timing on this. One of them has timing. Power can be played whenever you wish, except in the case of the last 2 lightning bolt powers. After a power has been used, cross off the corresponding coat of arms on the spell book. Okay. Yep. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know if this is gonna work or not because like there's not another player pressuring us for the draft. So, but my theory though is that this is going to be a little bit of a puzzle that we need to solve. So, okay, so that will be the first decision. Moving on to turn 2. Let's actually get a turn counter going in this game. So you see on the bottom, we got the turn counter. That was turn 1. We are over to turn 2 now. Okay. The game ends when you can't, I believe when you can't place a territory or a domino anymore. Okay. And keep in mind, right, like we don't have a solid or filled in shield right now or a coat of arms. So on our draft, so you can place next to it, but you need to be placing next to the kingdom at this point. So starting to diversify might be a good idea. You can definitely go for points. You could definitely go for the strategy to work up the up the trackers and trying to get these abilities against your opponent as well. So I think it just kind of depends, right? I like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do checkers, and I'm gonna do a double slash and a double slash. Okay, and then because I took checkers and a double slash, I get to make a mark on checkers and a mark on double slash. No points for me that turn, but I also didn't lose points against my opponent, right? All right, everyone make your decision. We're gonna move on to turn 3 and roll them up. Ooh. Now the wild is the wild. The wild does not allow you to make a mark on your spellbook. It does not allow your opponent to make a mark on the spellbook either, but it does allow you to choose any terrain type or coat of arms type that you want. I keep saying terrain type because I'm thinking Planet Unknown. Sorry. Okay. Double dot here. I'm okay taking the double dot in the wild. Let's get some single dots going. Get some single dots going. I think mitigating some of these negative points is gonna be critical. Not sure. All right. Everyone good? Everyone good? Rocking and rolling. Turn 4. Two singles. A single slash and double dot. The singles can really compound, right? But the question is how many times you're gonna make the be able to make find an X. There's just not many X's on the single dots, but it still seems like a pretty good move. Just get a big old territory of single dots going. I'm excited to grab one of these abilities and lock out an opponent from progressing, so it kind of opens up a little bit more of my defensive strategy. Starting to play a little defensive when it begins, I feel like. All right, next turn. Ooh, double X, that's so juicy. Or the checkered, yeah. It's so juicy. Gotta do that. And also expanding the salads. All right. But my opponent gets a single dot in here. All right, I'm okay with that. No big deal. No harm and no fouls. Next turn, here we go. It'll be interesting to see if these decisions are too obvious. I'll be looking for some feedback on this one. I'm just curious to try it. I was curious to bring Kingdomino Duel on here, and I was noodling on it for a little bit. I was like, there's got to be a way. So this is what I came up with. We'll see. All right, 2 single slashes, single dot, double dot, and an X. Well, I could finish out my single dot right now, and that opens up a lot of freedom. I might just go for I'm ahead on that, so like the single slashes seem pretty good. I actually don't have any single slashes in the kingdom right now, so we'll do that. 2 single slashes. All right. And my opponent gets a single dot. Alrighty, rocking and rolling. Okay. Here's another great rule too, and this actually almost came up for me. If you cannot play a domino because you cannot establish that connection rule or use the ability in your favor, you actually have to pass the turn. You just don't get to play any dice because you couldn't play the connection rule. Locked out of the single dot. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like, do I want to push for that, or do I just want to keep it in check and then take it when I need it? I'm not sure. We just don't have any stars on the single dot yet, so I gotta take points when you find them, right? Gotta get those points going. So like the double dots here look pretty good. I can't actually play them unless I had one of these abilities to ignore the connection rule or something. So maybe that actually is a good idea. Is get that ability going. Yeah, so like a single dot and then like a double dot X. Give my opponent a double dot. I'm okay with that. And I give him a double stripe. We'll see. We shall see. We shall see. All right. Next turn. Okay. I also think too, rolls like this can be painful. Although I suppose you do make progress as fast as your opponent on this roll, but just on different coats of arms. The coat of arms. Well, nothing is great for me on this one. Nothing is great. And I'm okay, I think, up here with a single dot and a double dot. So, single dot. Snag that one. And then make sure you once you use your ability, you check it off or like cross it out. Me, them, AI. Okay, just keep it very clear. And then the AI for me had filled and single stripe. Alrighty. It feels like a little bit of push and pull because you want to take points, but you want to also mitigate point reduction from your opponent, right? So I am curious to see how this works. All right. Single slash, double slash. There's points there, but I would eat up my checkers. Gotta keep working the double dot X. And then the only place I can go right there is, could have done something else, but I'm gonna do the single. And the single dot actually is kind of, it's interesting now, right? Because there's no counter picking reason for me to put a single dot there. Maybe that was a bad idea. Like I basically locked him out, so I'm okay to stop picking that. Strategically, I'm not sure what that means yet. I'm actually going to change that decision. I'm going to use a single slash here and an X. We'll do that. Let's get some points on the board. So I do have to mark this one though. Okay. And then he is done. Alrighty. Next turn. I wish they had names for the different territories. What we got? We're rolling like really low on X's this game. It's kind of crazy. Hopefully they come in late. I really boxed myself out of the double dots. What do I need? Single slashes? Feels pretty good. Single slashes. And more point potential up there, so I'm gonna go for it. But there was legit points down here, so maybe it was a bad decision. We'll see. Then and also keep in mind you can start using your abilities once you unlock them, right? So it's 2 single slashes, a double dot, and the single dot to my opponent. All right, next turn. Double dot, single dot. Okay, we got 1X, 1X. It's something. I suppose the first thing you really should look for when you roll is the X's, huh? Would make sense. Okay. Single slash. And a double slash and an X. Single slash, grabs an ability. Feeling good. Double dot over here. All right. Ready to go. I think I know what my feedback is going to be on this variant. But we'll see. The game is young. The kingdom is small still. We are growing the kingdom out. Inviting in all these different families to go potentially have this giant war later. But they're all friendly now. They're very friendly. Just wait until the horse runs and poops on the other guy's lawn. Okay. We got a single slash. 2 double dots. Those double dots, I boxed them out. I'm feeling bad. Double slash. Gotta go for the double slash. And I actually have to take this one unless I want the opponent to gain points here. I think it might be okay. You know, it might be okay. Thanks for joining, Frozen Meeple. Yeah, we're talking through a practice game, so I can talk through my turn. We're gonna then go talk strategy, and then we're going to play it for realsies for the global bragging rights. So, what's happening here? We've modified Kingdomino Duel into a solo game. All right, we're testing it out. It's never been tried before, officially. And these are not official rules. These are fan-made rules. So on your turn, a roll happens. These are the coats of arms that you are going to be choosing 2 of. You are going to choose 2, then you're going to combine them to form essentially a domino. Then you're going to be placing the domino on your board, writing it in, following connection rules. Connection rules meaning if you have 2 stripes, you must place it next to a 2 stripe, or you must place it next to a double dot. So right now, if this were to be my domino, it would have to go over here. Otherwise, it would not obey connection rules. The number of X's on the dice is the number of the multiplier that you're going to. It's a multiplier, just like the crowns of Kingdomino. Okay, and then the bigger your terrain is the other multiplier. So the number of X's in the terrain times the size, the number of squares in that group. That is all together. At the end of the game, most points wins. You're going to count each grouping multiplied by the number of X's in that grouping. When you choose things, there are also going to be triggering kind of writing on the spell book down here, which as you progress forward, you're going to be unlocking spells. So that's the gist of it. We'll go through the spells later if you want to stick around and give it a try. And we also have the sheet up above. Let me paste it in again. Sweet. So there are 2 pages in there, the top and bottom. Okay. All right, so that was the turn. I need to make a decision though. Turn 12. I think I'm going to take that double dot. I'm sorry, the double stripe. It makes the most sense. And I really boxed myself up here, so this is frustrating. We just have no X's. I think I'm going to go here. And then, I suppose a double dot to try to prevent the opponent. So when our opponent makes X's, it's similar to Kingdomino, yeah, for sure. When our opponent makes X's, when you take something without an X on it, that's when you make a mark on your spell book. When you leave something to your opponent without an X on it, that is when your opponent progresses forward. The opponent can lock you out of using your abilities. So if you get there first, you're fine. You get your ability. If you do not get there at all, you do not get your ability. If your opponent beats you there, your opponent snags, does not allow you to use the ability. And actually, we're going to be adding minus points. So for every single time your opponent beats you to the red box, we're going to be incrementing the minus points that you receive. So far I've been able to do okay without it, but yeah. Here is the, I think is the new rule. No, it's not. We need a new rule. We are on turn 13. Ethan says, yeah, I messed up. I made an area where the dominoes can't fit evenly. Got to watch out for that. Yeah, and also if that happens, you can definitely use this ability to get you by. Ugh, we just don't roll any X's this time. It's crazy. It's gonna be the lowest scoring Kingdomino game ever. Kingdomino Duel, that is. I'm really waiting for a single X. And maybe I should have been looking at checkers a little more. We just haven't rolled checkers either. Weird. This is so weird. I guess, the dice can do that, right? Like, not all the dice aren't necessarily evenly distributed. We can go through that in a little bit. Well, I was hoping for a thing, and didn't come up, so I guess I gotta take points where I can find him. Double. Yeah, I mean, Ethan was pointing this out that I have an uneven box down here now, unfortunately. I think I do that almost every game. The brain lags a little bit at the beginning, you know. So we'll use a double. I think I want to save points there. Save for points. So we'll go with double, slash, and an X. And then down here, I suppose we're going to use a double dot, just in case. Double dot. And that means our opponent would get 2 single slashes. That's okay, because we've already gotten that. And actually, that might have been good for me to use an ability at one of these times, right? Next turn, I believe. This game goes pretty quick. I'm finding it goes even a little bit quicker without the draft, which is kind of interesting. I suppose, makes sense. A wild, that's like our first wild. That is one of our first wilds that have been rolled too. And again, no X's. This is just unfrickin' believable. There's no X's. It's like this is like the really poor kingdom. And which is fine, and you know, we're just gonna be we're starting up. We're a startup kingdom, so we don't need wealthy rich people in this kingdom. We just need hard workers. We need people to jumpstart this kingdom into history, right? Scores are gonna be super interesting and low. I'm not looking forward to it. Okay, what am I doing here? I'm doing absolute rubbish is what I'm doing. So, maybe a wild is a good time here. We'll place a wild. I don't know. I'm definitely using the wild. So the single slash here. Nope. The wild is definitely here. Okay. That makes sense. The wild, and then I suppose a single slash. My opponent would get the double dot. So my opponent beat me here on the double dot. So that's going to be minus, I suppose, make an X there because my opponent beat me to the punch. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we might score less than 10 points. Or like, I don't know. Like, there's a few X's, but not many. And I really counterpicked them because I was really worried about the opponent. But maybe that was a bad strategy. All right. Rocking and rolling. Next turn. Okay, we have an X. We have an X. That's a single dot X. That is so huge, everybody. So huge. Yep, single dot. Is it time to use? Yeah. Not quite time to use an ability. Not quite. Well, I suppose I just gotta take points where they come, right? Game's getting pretty close to the end, so we'll do a single dot here and an X and a single dot here, just because that's a point at least. My opponent cannot beat me here because I've already beat him to the red dot, and the double, he's already there as well. Okay, next turn. Man, I'm rolling flat today. I'm definitely not going to the casino. I would come home broke. This is brutal. I have never seen a roll like this. I think I might, maybe set some automated device up in the future. This is just garbage. That's okay, because we're all, facing the same garbagey rolls. So, got to deal with it. What do we got? So it's definitely time for me to use an ability. Can I get a single point out of it? I don't think I can. Oh, I can. So I use this ability to split them up. And I can go here, and then I can go here. Unfortunately, my last turn, I'm not going to be able to play no matter what. And we're going to probably roll, because I've already used my split power. Well, yeah, no, I Actually, no, I could have done that. I made a mistake. I'm not going to change it. I could have conserved this for the last roll. That was a mistake. Had I done a single slash here and then split to a double dot here, following both connection rules because you have to on the split, then I would have had 2 up here available, but I made a mistake. That's okay. The opponent gets all 4. That's a good question. Yes. I think so. We have no other way to track it, so. Okay. I like it. Just salted the wound right there, Ethan. Okay. So the double dot's filled. Luckily, I didn't hit a double slash. Okay. Pretty safe from the opponents. Pretty safe. Go ahead and make your choice. Again, I cannot play because I cannot follow the connection rules. And I'm split, so I would actually need to be able to have an ability with the split. So, at the end of the game, what the best way to score this thing is to kind of focus in on your, well, I guess they both still matter, kind of. But make sure you circle your areas, so it helps to circle all of the like icons. All right. And then if you have any X's, you're going to take the number of X's in that area times the number of squares of that coat of arms, right? You don't have to do this, but it helps you remember if you've counted it before. Okay. And then, oh, and of course, oh, I did get this one. Sorry, I made that wrong. Okay. So, for example, I have 1, 2, 3 X's times 4 in the double slash over here, so that's 12 points. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2 is going to be 8 points. 8 points for the single dots. 3 times 2 is going to be 6 for the double dots. Single slashes got me just 1 point. The checkerboard got me 4 points. And I did not get the ability to call out one of my coat of arms. I forget what that ability is called. Choose a coat of arms. Each different domain, I guess the grouping is the domain. Each different domain would give you 3 prestige points. So like the more separate domains you make, the more points you get based on what you chose. You did well, Trina. You did well overnight games. Well played. You absolutely trounced me. Now, also, you have to keep in mind you have to minus whatever your opponent had. So right now I had a -1, so I'm going to put my -1 here. Okay. $39 minus 1, I think, is 38. I think. All right. I think I had 38. Nice. 58. I had very few 1 square domains. I had a few 1 square domains. Oh, cool. Cool. Ended up with 58. Only lost 3 to the opponent and got 12 points from the 3 points per domain power. So let's break down the solo a little bit. Let's this song's getting me. Next song.